Winter during the Second World War was more than a season. It was an enemy. Soldiers on the Eastern Front and in the Ardennes faced a cold so fierce it claimed lives as surely as bullets. Frostbite, hypothermia and frozen rations were daily threats, and official supplies rarely kept up. In these conditions, survival depended on small acts of ingenuity, not just weapons or tactics. The cold was a silent killer, sapping strength and morale. Out of this desperation, soldiers found a way to create warmth from the most basic resources. Enter the coal sock trick, a simple, clever method to generate slow, steady heat using coal and a sock. It required no special tools, just what was on hand. This trick was more than a curiosity. It was a testament to human resilience and adaptation. In the face of relentless winter, a little warmth could mean the difference between life and death. The winter of 1943 brought a severe fuel crisis to Europe. Coal was rationed for factories and transport, leaving civilians and soldiers with barely enough to survive. Loose coal burned too quickly and produced dangerous smoke, hardly ideal for stealth or efficiency. What soldiers needed was a heat source that was slow, steady and discreet. The coal sock trick answered this need. By packing coal dust into a sock, they created a primitive briquette that smouldered for hours with minimal smoke. This method made every scrap of coal count, providing warmth through the night without revealing their position. It was a tactical tool as much as a survival one. Sometimes the simplest ideas are the most effective. Making a coal sock was straightforward and resourceful. Soldiers gathered small coal fragments and dust, often considered waste. They dampened the mixture, packed it tightly into a wool sock, and tied it off. The moisture slowed ignition, while compression limited oxygen, ensuring a slow, steady burn. The sock was placed in a fire until it glowed, then transferred to a metal container or brazier. It would radiate warmth for up to 8 hours, enough to get through a freezing night. The key was controlling the burn: less oxygen, less smoke, more heat over time. This wasn't just a fire starter, it was a fire extender. With minimal resources, soldiers created a reliable, portable heat source. In the harshest conditions, this simple trick was a lifeline. It was survival, distilled to its essence. Ingenuity turned scraps into hope. The coal sock's genius was its adaptability. Soldiers used it in ammo cans for portable heaters or in tanks where open flames were too risky. Some units buried tins of coal socks in snow to warm dugouts, boosting morale and saving lives. Civilians, too, adopted the method, mixing coal dust with clay or newspaper to make slow-burning briquettes for their homes. In bombed-out cities, people improvised with whatever containers they had, always seeking to stretch their meagre fuel. These small acts of invention brought comfort and a sense of control in a world turned upside down. The principle was universal. Slow the burn, extend the heat, make the most of what you have. In war and at home, the coal sock was a quiet revolution in survival. The coal sock trick, while ingenious, carried real risks. Smouldering coal produces carbon monoxide, a deadly, invisible gas. In open air, the danger was low, but in bunkers or sealed rooms, it could be fatal. Experienced users knew to ventilate, watching for signs of poor air. Headaches, drowsiness, confusion. The choice was grim: risk freezing or risk poisoning. Today we have carbon monoxide detectors and better knowledge. Never use improvised coal heaters indoors without proper ventilation. The lesson isn't to copy the coal sock, but to understand fuel, airflow and safety. These tricks were last resorts, born of necessity. We honour their ingenuity by learning and improving on their methods. The coal sock's principles live on in modern fuel technology. Charcoal briquettes and fire logs use compressed fuel and restricted airflow for slow, efficient burning. Survival techniques like the Dakota fire hole also control oxygen for heat and stealth. Even chemical hand warmers echo the coal sock's purpose: portable, long-lasting warmth. What began as battlefield improvisation is now engineered for safety and convenience. The core idea, controlled, efficient heat, remains unchanged. The coal sock was a mechanical age solution. Today we have chemical and electronic ones. Innovation builds on the past, turning necessity into progress. The coal sock trick is a story of human resilience and creativity under pressure. It reminds us that the simplest solutions often come from necessity and observation. These forgotten methods are more than history. They're lessons in resourcefulness. By studying them, we honour those who endured and learned to see potential in the ordinary. Let's keep this practical wisdom alive, sharing stories and skills from the past. The coal sock is a tribute to quiet ingenuity, a spark of hope in the coldest times. In every challenge, a little knowledge and creativity can make all the difference. Let's carry these lessons forward, ready for whatever winters may come.